Hi, everyone. Welcome to the company update for Q2 through Q4 for HUMBL. Please take a minute to read the safe harbor statement. Thank you. Okay, I'm Brian Foote. I'm the CEO of HUMBL. Thanks for tuning in today to hear a little bit more about the company. If you're a shareholder or a customer or just interested in getting more education on Web3, we're down here in our HUMBL LATAM offices today in Santiago, Chile. So thanks for having us here. We appreciate it. And it's really fun. One of the best things about the job is being able to be on travel, meeting with people, friends, and colleagues that you're doing work with in the technology that we're in, which is Web3 and blockchain. And we think it could touch pretty much every country in the world. And we're excited to be a small part of that. So thanks for tuning in. The things we'll cover off today about the company are sort of just some overview, Web3 education, company thesis, why we're more passionate today than we were from the day we started about what we're doing at HUMBL. So that'll be the kind of the company thesis section. We'll get into capital markets, sort of nitty gritty stuff. At HUMBL, we go through a huge process of filing, 100-page plus reports with accounting firms, law firms, audit firms, et cetera. So a ton of prep that goes into that, but and that's all the good and bad and ugly of a company. But sometimes you all want to hear it from me as well in terms of what our plans are to get out of that sort of morass of paperwork and information and just kind of give you the top level stuff of what we're doing to build the business, ship great products, and drive shareholder value. So we'll go through that on the capital market side, corporate strategy, how we're doing what we're doing at the company. So not just the why, but the what, and then some really cool stuff, the product roadmap stuff that we're also passionate about and excited to ship out to the market. So really excited to show you some of what we've got cooking at HUMBL on the product roadmap side. So thanks for tuning in. We're HUMBL, and let's get right into it. So our ticker symbol is OTCQB. It's HMBL is the ticker symbol. So check us out if you haven't before. For those of you who've been with us for a couple of years now since we went public, we have about, we think, 165,000 or so shareholders. I'll update you with a precise number when I get it. We have a no-go list coming in the next couple of days that we've ordered. So that'll be great because we'll get really precise information about who our shareholders are, and find ways to connect with them even more deeply. So we'll get that updated no-go list here in the next couple of days, and be really fun to see who all is out there and sticking with us or new folks that have come on board. So really incredible number of shareholders, right? You're taking the largest stadium in the country, times 1.5 and getting it out there. So it's pretty wild the amount of folks we have that are shareholders in HUMBL. And I hope you all can really dig in on downloading and using our product lines. One of the biggest things that I would ask you, just as someone who's a shareholder investing in us to do what we're doing, is please download the products, use them. If you like them, the 4.9 star wallet, on the App Store, recommend it to others. Our verified social media platform, hop on there, use it, get familiar with the product mix, refer it to other people. If, like I said, if you enjoy it, please refer it to other people. And then also, of course, we have the consumer segment as well. In addition to those consumer product lines that we hope that you, if you are a shareholder, dig in and use and beat up and send us your feedback and all things. So the commercial segment is more not so in the consumer side, but as we roll out some of these public sector products, you may touch them on the public sector side. So we'll get into a little bit of the details on how we're doing some things in government that are first of stuff, primarily in Santa Cruz County. So that'll be fun, and hopefully you do ultimately get to connect with our products on a white label or a powered by HUMBL level in areas like government here in the United States and around the world. So again, I'm the CEO, Brian Foote. Welcome to HUMBL, and let's dig in on what we're doing. So the market problems, guys, that we're going in after are that Web 2 is heavily siloed, right? So there's username, password, credit card, all manner of silos that pertain to either getting into a website, conducting business with the website or entity, and then formalizing that through a series of receipts or emails or email retargeting, just a very disaggregated and fragmented web that Web3 proposes to make much more fluid through a series of digital wallets, and in our case also search engine and registry. So I'll get into that a little bit about how we're solving for that. Web 2 also has some major problems that are coming forward now around fake ads, fake human profiles, fake ratings and reviews. So I've kind of been on the soapbox about this for a couple of years now since we went public, and the dialogue now in the mainstream media is starting to pick up in this area, and even some legacy Web 2 folks are starting to call it out and say, guys, like this is really a house of cards in terms of how many profiles are actually out there, ads that are actually being clicked on by a verified human being, and then ratings and reviews around products that are just completely fake. So these are major issues, and it's stuff we've got to deal with, and we think we have some solutions there in Web3. So some studies have come out recently. Senator Blumenthal in Connecticut put out a note that the largest Web 2 marketplace was suffering from over 42% fake ratings and reviews in an anonymous study that they did. So that was interesting, right? I mean, you have some of the biggest names in tech, in FANG stock tech, that are built on some serious quicksand issues around fake profiles, fake ratings, fake reviews, and fake products. So when you start to think about verified profiles, digital wallets, and authenticated goods and services, it really gets exciting to think about how we can provide a more authentic trust architecture on the web. So you're not only making it easier to get into and conduct commerce on the web, but you're also making it easier to find authentic people and products and payments that you can do much more synthetically than you can on Web 2, where you're dealing with, again, these silos, these fragments, and these unverified sellers and users. So we'll get into a bit of that. And again, Web 2 is starting to get called to the carpet a bit on some of these things. Ad click fraud is a known multi-billion-dollar issue. And then data privacy stuff, right? There's billions of dollars of fines that get handed out to these big tech conglomerates that don't respect your data or your data privacy. So we'll be working on that as well. So in terms of Web3, this is a series of digital wallets. So you'll hear me talk a lot about the digital wallet as sort of stop one on the journey in Web3. And what that means is essentially you're moving out of this username, password, credit card, email, retargeting silos, and moving into a digital wallet that will house things like your verifiable credentials, your identification. What were formerly papers that were important to you can be tucked into a digital wallet, as well as different means of payment, right? Credit cards, cryptocurrency, digital assets, and fiat currencies will all, and eventually central bank digital currencies will all be housed inside these wallet products. So something to keep an eye on, and we'll show you how we're building that in the field. If you haven't downloaded the HUMBL Wallet 4.9 star app on the App Store, check it out. We have a lot of cool features in there, more coming that I'll show at the end of the presentation that I think you'll find really cool. And we're going to try to take this really complex thing of Web3 and blockchain and really simplify it for people. So what you'll see is our product stack not actually blowing out, but being tightened in to be able to make these entry points much easier. I'll be getting back on the train in terms of customer education, more media, more videos, more roundtable talks, things like that. So we'll be doing that. I really think that one of the most important things we can do, other than delivering great products and driving shareholder value, is educating the market on Web3. As you can tell, we're super excited about it. It's something we love to do. And so we will be doing more education too as a brand. Other companies like Coinbase have done a great job, I think, of trying to create, blogs and learning modules, things like that. So we'll be joining them and others in the space to try to create our own education materials as some of those other companies have as well. So we'll be doing a bit more of that. And again, as you start to wade through this presentation, the things we want to be thinking about are Web3 starts with a verified profile. It goes into a digital wallet that you can use to trade, track, store, and pay in new ways on Web3. And then you sit those things, in the case of HUMBL, on top of a search engine that can help you get to verified information more quickly. So you can find it and transact on it and record it much better than you can in these Web2 silos that I was talking about on the previous slide. And so when you build this verified profile architecture, you're creating a trust architecture between wallets, whether it's a consumer wallet, a merchant wallet, or a government wallet, where you're then connected to each other in an unfettered way, wallet to wallet. So it just eliminates a lot of these silos that folks are encumbered by on Web 2, which was great at the time, right? When Web 2 was coming out in the 90s, very exciting. Amazon, huge multi-trillion-dollar company over the last 25 years, came out with the bold thesis that folks were going to buy things online. They started with books, and then they expanded to other soft goods and hard goods and so on. So it's really neat, here in the early 2020s to be thinking about, okay, what is the next 25 years of tech going to look like? Are we going to be connected by pieces of paper and leather wallets, or are folks going to move to these agnostic digital wallets where they can house their identity, their person, their assets, their payments, and the storage of those things in safer and more authenticated ways, unfettered ways on the blockchain? So that's what we're working on in HUMBL. It's something that pops us out of bed every day because we can see it, and we're high conviction on our thesis. And we're just very thankful to have the opportunity, the runway of money and time to be able to work on that for as long as we can, and hopefully build a legacy brand here at the company and on your behalf. Okay, so sorry, the sun is doing its thing right on time here. But so let's get into the capital markets piece. I wanted to talk through this with you guys. Nitty gritty stuff, right? We can put out all the 100-page audited financials and legal disclaimers and all the things, but at the end of the day, what does it boil down to? Does the company have a plan to come out of these hurricane-like headwinds that have been in the market for the last 6 to 8 months? Do we have a strong plan? Do you believe that we're going to execute the plan? Do we believe that we're going to execute the plan? And then making it happen. So like I mentioned, we're more high conviction today about HUMBL than we were on day one, and that's a hell of a feeling. I'm so happy to be able to work on what I love to do, and on your behalf as investors, shareholders, people who are helping us along our way to build our vision and hopefully provide really great products to the world. So let's get into kind of the nitty gritty of the capital markets. We'll do the corporate strategy and then the fun stuff of product roadmap. Okay, so in terms of the last 6 to 8 months, beginning with the FTX collapse, a serious breach of trust in crypto. Crypto already had its challenges in terms of whiz-bang trading, no fundamentals, no regulation. So then you have this offshore exchange, crypto exchange, that gets all kind of capital in and validity in some ways from US capital and endorsements and all the things. And it was just run very, very poorly. There's no respect for the space or the discipline. And it's very frustrating for folks like us that are in blockchain as a technology to get thrown out with the bathwater in crypto. So FTX kicked off this series of very negative headwinds for people who are building in Web3 and in blockchain as a technology. And it was horrible. You could see it coming a mile away. It gave a wedge in the door to folks that were hunting crypto and blockchain for a long time, some of whom were from traditional institutions that don't want to change or give up market share or concede control points that they've established over the last 30 years on fees and install base. So FTX was a joyous occasion for many that are trying to obfuscate change in our country and others with what they know is coming in blockchain. So that was frustrating for guys like us that have walked down Main Street, asked to be regulated, do our auditings, do our filings, do our legals, do our regulatory, do our compliance, all the stuff that, you're kind of told not to do as a founder in crypto, just go overseas and make your life easier. That's the easy way. And I don't believe our country in the United States will achieve excellence in blockchain if founders have to go abroad, and if founders don't have the guts to stay home and walk down Main Street. And it's hard. I've spent millions of dollars on regulatory and legal and compliance and all things. But I'm very, very proud that we're one of the few publicly traded companies in the world that's doing, blockchain front and center. We're in Web3. We respect the space. We have a huge amount of respect for regulatory and compliance. We try to do everything the right way as much as possible, triple checking everything, so we can do our work. I mean, that's the goal, right? Is you want to raise enough money and drive enough shareholder value to be able to continue doing your work for a really long time. And that's why we're here at HUMBL. So you have this FTX kick off some really negative dominoes. Then you move into a crypto crash, right? So there was this crypto contagion that comes out of FTX, where you start to have exchanges go down. You start to have crypto projects get called to the carpet. Regulatory and compliance tightened its belt domestically in the US. And so you have a really negative sequence of events over the last 8 months after the FTX crash. So you have FTX crash, crypto contagion, and then right as you're coming out of that, call it at the end of the year, going into sort of the early parts of 23, you have major US banks start to collapse. So you can imagine that as an early stage founder and entrepreneur going out to raise another round of money, that's total nightmare fuel for us. So it was really, really hard. You'll see, if we ever make the movie someday, you'll see, some phone calls that I get where, you're just about to close on definitive documents with major funds. And it's like, Brian, sorry, man, we like what you're doing and we want to support it, but we don't even know how much of our lending portfolio is inside some of these banks that collapsed, over the weekend or whatever. So it's pretty wild. It's a wild, very hairy kind of classic, moment in the life cycle of a business where you're going, I need to raise money here. And your major US banks are collapsing around you. Very challenging time. So we've had to take some less than ideal, lower middle market lending facilities and things like that, where, these guys know what they're doing and they hit your stock pretty hard and all things. So it's been tough there, but we got through it. I'm so proud that we got through that process. As you may have seen on Monday, we announced that we have a constructive funding package that's come in from an outfit down by Miami called Pacific Lion, and some other private family office folks as well that have supported us for a long time, that came in as well out of Utah, Arizona, etc. So we really appreciate them coming in also and giving us more constructive funding terms than some of the stuff that you have to go and get when times get lean in terms of the capital stack. So we made it through that. We announced, please go and read the PR, because there's all kinds of legal detail and very just detailed descriptions of the capital, the pace that the capital comes in, etc. But we're very keen on these guys. They have very good track record of working with earlier stage companies that know exactly where they want to go to clean up the balance sheet, clean up their share structure, try in ways that you can to reduce dilution or address it at least, and do some things on the capital market side, let alone ship great products, accelerated technologies, and some of the opportunities that we have that we've won, right? Like the government stuff that we need to move on fast. So we sat down with these guys and actually stepped away from some bigger funds, multi-billion-dollar funds actually, that we stepped away from because we like the boutique nature of this funder. Really like Jacob there, and we just liked his setup of taking a comprehensive long-term view of the business, tying some of his performance and outcomes to us getting to a major exchange at some point down the line, and those things. So our incentives, it's really nice when your capital has mutually aligned incentives with you. So that's just wonderful to have. That's fuel for us to keep doing our work, and and that's what you love to see. So we're really thankful for the money. We use every dollar really, really well. We're still running super tight, but we have, that boot off our neck a little bit to go and do the work. So the plan we came up with is called HUMBL 2.0, meaning we've had this sort of big up when we went public. We've had this big down. We have learned a ton, right, in our first couple of seasons of playing quarterback. I mean, I can't tell you how many lessons I've learned personally every day. So you have these wonderful things of creating this incredible global network and getting a real-time education on the markets. And, some of that is learned from swings and misses and taking your losses and your lumps and the scars to prove it. So that's been really, I'm very thankful for the learnings that we've gotten over the last few years. There's other historical tech cycles like Amazon, for example, that came out, went to $100, crashed down to $6 or $7 a share. And Bezos has that legendary quote of everything was going right with the company and wrong with the stock. And sometimes your stock price and stock performance can be influenced by external factors that are not related to the advancements of the company. So we're really excited to report to you, from sort of a leadership level, that we are more confident than ever in product mix. I believe we have a consumer and commercial product stack that I would put up against anybody in the world. We have the acumen to do it. If we're given the same, cleats and uniforms and balls and grid lines to play on, I'll put us up against anybody in the world. Technologically, I believe we have the right product, market, and fit and brand for the times, and that we can build on that for decades to come. So really excited about what we have going. But we also need to then address the capital markets component of the business, right? So brand, product, market fit, partnerships, sales, very confident in that piece. How do we clean up the capital markets piece? So we'll be looking at that just as much as the product mix, and that includes raising more capital. So I mentioned to you in the PR that we're going to look at some of the Reg A Plus stuff. So we've got phone calls starting on that as soon as this afternoon. There's some pretty cool product platforms out there that we have relationships with that we think we can lean into. Again, you look at that 165,000 person retail shareholder base. I mean, what an opportunity in terms of you guys getting behind us and just the amount of folks we have pushing HUMBL forward. So we want to lean into that a bit. And then also, of course, think about how we can do, tap into that equity line of credit once and if our S1 gets approved. And then also, of course, thinking about the broader mix of building on our existing relationships. We have excellent investment banking relationships. It's just sometimes you can't tap into them if you're not on the NASDAQ or you're not on the NYSE, or you don't have an immediate need to get there. Then sometimes you just have to have great investment banking relationships over the years, which I've managed to build some of those. Just a matter of when we can deploy them. So I do really hope to get us at some point to an NYSE or a NASDAQ uplisting. I think it's the right place for us to be at HUMBL. There's so many meetings I have where folks are going, hey, this is great. You have a great product line. I totally see your company's business model, but what are you doing on the OTCs type of thing? And I get that. I mean, I understand. I wouldn't trade the lessons that I've learned on the OTCs whatsoever. But it's certainly something where you have to strap in every day. I'll tell you that. So good lessons learned. It really hardens you. It makes you more patient in the pocket, but we do want to try to get north on an NYSE or a NASDAQ at some point down the line over the next 6 months to 18 months. Let's try to figure something out. And you guys, I think you've learned that we scratch and claw to get there as best we can on the stuff that we decide we want to do. So in summary, we'll be raising more capital and more diverse capital, right? I listed some pathways of the equity line and the Reg A and some things. We'll be working to reduce our debt. We've already reduced our debt substantially this year. So go back and look at some of those PRs about debt reduction. So that's great. We've deeply reduced our burn rate, right? You read about these Silicon Valley companies that lose billions of dollars a quarter trying to ship products that I would put ours up against tomorrow. So it's almost laughable, the burn rate that we operate on, given the product mix that we're shipping out. So we're very proud of that, although we'd like to kind of move north on having a better product mix that reflected or a better capital mix that reflected our product stack. We need to address dilution. It's, I hear about it with you guys all the time. I know I'm fully aware of this issue. So I'm still finalizing a plan, and you'll know exactly when we do it. But I think I'm going to go back to the Bs and ask them to vote on maybe pausing selling for a few months. So more news to come there, but that's where my current thinking is there. So nothing definitive yet, but we'll let you know once it's definitive and legal has cleared it and all that. But I am contemplating going to the Bs and asking them to vote on ceasing any sales for a period of time. I think that would be helpful. And of course, a number of the B shareholders are founders that have still sold zero stock. And in my case and others take zero salary. So it's something where we are maximum bet on this company as founders. We are all in, and this is an all or nothing deal for me. So we want to build and ship great products. I think we're really starting to get there on shipping out some really killer products, which is cool. And I'm very proud of what we're doing with the product mix. And then of course, drive revenues. We're a couple clicks ahead of being revenue mature company. We're just not a revenue mature company. We're still finalizing our product mix in a way that will start to yield on transactional revenues and contract revenues. We did win our first six-figure contract down here in Latin America last quarter. So we're super proud of that on the commercial sales side. So I do think we can have step function growth on the commercial side if we hit our sales targets that we're going after on contract revenues. But just please keep in mind on the revenue side, although we desperately want to drive them, right? You've got to ship the cars to the dealership before you sell the cars and expand. So I hear the drumbeat revenue side, and we are trying as best we can to drive revenues. But I just want to guide you guys on the market side. Like that is something that we will build into. On the consumer side, it's very hard to find a technology product that didn't grow into its razor blade model of transactional revenue. So I just want to be really realistic about the guidance there. That, a lot of the consumer products are transactional. We will have the pro piece that has subscription services, which I'm very confident will drive more revenues. And we are starting to lean into some other transaction services that can get more mature, like ticketing, that are doing well this quarter. So there's some stuff we'll be doing to try to pull those revenue levers on the consumer side, but just note that historically in consumer technology, that's a razor blade model. So our accelerated growth on the revenue side, I have us pointed towards commercial sales, and we're doing our best to prospect and land commercial sales that can result in more stable contractual revenues for the company as well. So our goal is to drive long-term shareholder returns. We're shareholders. It's a maximum bet for us on what we're doing as shareholders. So we're right shoulder to shoulder with you. You read all the time about these bank CEOs that sell millions of dollars of stock and then their bank collapses the next week, or technology CEOs that unload hundreds of millions of dollars of shares onto their markets. And that's just not something I've ever decided to do. So I'm very proud that I've never sold a share. In fact, I've retired many shares and I don't take a salary. So this is an all or nothing deal. And we want to drive shareholder returns for all of us as a long-term company. So thanks for that. I know it's a lot of gory detail, but we really want to just kind of set the tone here at the mid-year and give you guys a view on the capital markets. So in summary, raise money from multiple sources, diversify those investment pathways with the Reg A, which we are sourcing now and we hope to do. No guarantees there yet, but it is something we have on our roadmap. The equity line of credit, which we'll be filing for upon approval of the S1, we've got that in place, so we can start tapping into that as soon as we get through the regulatory pathways of the S1. And then, of course, we'll be raising other ancillary monies from venture capital, funds, private family offices, et cetera. So really just kind of diversifying the capital that comes into the company so we can do the work. Lastly, we continue to reduce and renegotiate our debt. We want to try to consolidate the sellers as much as possible in the channel, so we can drive value, protect the share price. It's been a really horrible, road in the stock markets and for HUMBL. So we want to try to guide that shareholder value and protect it and start growing again. So we've got a keen eye on that. There's sometimes only so much you can do, but we've got eyes on it. We're going to try to do everything we can to solve for that, or at least address it within our power, and then drive to a major exchange, an NYSE or NASDAQ. And certainly have had preliminary discussions with investment banks that we like a lot, that would love to help us get there. So in terms of the decisive action steps that we're taking in the market, we have the primary investments that came in on Monday, more coming in terms of us going out and soliciting capital. We've presented a holistic capital markets plan, a little bit more to come on details around some share structure stuff, and the goal of getting the pref Bs to pause selling for a little while. So I'll put that up for vote and see what we can do. A Reg A plus, and hopefully some kind of uplisting strategy over time to a NASDAQ or an NYSE is certainly the goal. You can never guarantee that. So it's just something that we want to have on our roadmap and be building towards. I think all the step functions that you need to take to get to a NASDAQ or an NYSE are concomitant with what we want to be doing as a business anyway. We have our equity line of credit that's in place for when the S1 is approved. And then we have, of course, the ability to go out and sell global distribution rights to key areas that we think it would take more time and money for us to penetrate those markets than it would be to give up a little bit of revenue share and let someone who's really strong and has strong control points and a strong vision for their region to install HUMBL as a platform in their region. So we always have an eye on selling global or distribution rights in territories that we think we either have excellent distribution or distribution that's a little bit beyond our grasp, where we're prepared to concede some revenue sharing if it means immediate revenues and penetration into the market through a powerful distributor. A good operator, obviously someone that we vet and that's going to take care of their region, but someone who can help us along our path and we them by providing good technology. So there's some historical illustrations of that, right? Grace Kennedy saw Western Union's vision 30 years ago and bought in on that, and they've done billions of dollars of business together as a family office with Western Union in Jamaica and some other ancillary items. So previous tech cycles, fintech cycles have had examples of this. So we're studying that, and it may be something we do if we have the right opportunity. Okay, in terms of the corporate strategy piece, quick beverage break here with the Diet Coke. Our company mission, build great products that change the world. That's what we try to do every day. It's something that we're super passionate about, and we love what we're doing. So thank you for supporting us on our journey. Our goal then is to acquire loyal customers, right? Our numbers will always be smaller than the unverified Web 2 platforms. You know who they are. We make a policy of not naming names or airing people out. But you know the platforms on Web 2 that constantly take credit for millions of fake accounts and fake ad impressions and bots and spam and all the other negative things that come with that, right? There's been a lot of debate about election interference and just many things that come, negative things, market manipulation that come from these anonymous, accounts that are not above anything in terms of trying to tamper with markets and tamper with the free world. So it's very dangerous, actually. So a lot of kickback now on Web 2 social media stuff, a lot of kickback now on Web 2 marketplaces with their fake ratings and fake reviews and fake products. So it's a really cool time for us to be building a trust architecture, fully verified platform that's authenticated on blockchain. So extremely committed to that mission and believe that its scalability is imminent. So acquire loyal customers that then refer our products. So like I said, guys, we have a huge stadium full of shareholders and more. Please refer HUMBL's products to each other and use them. We would rather have you not invest in the company if you're not going to use the products, right? It's the good old fashioned Warren Buffett, Diet Coke on the desk type of thing. use the products. And if you love the product, then invest in the company. And so please do refer and recur on our product lines. It's really helpful for us in our mission and our metrics. So drive revenue growth across the product lines, deliver returns where possible to shareholders and partners. I feel really good about some of the partnership stuff we've done, which I'll detail at the end of the product roadmap. But we've got to drive returns to shareholders too. It's been a horrible couple of years on the markets, and we feel it and we see it, and it's horrible. And I take a lot of personal pride in that, and I view it as a loss every time we lose value in the stock and so on. We're not driving value for you guys, so we're going to do everything we can to turn that around. That's within our abilities. And our goal, of course, is to then build a legacy brand in Web3, something we care about, something we're proud of, something that's driving value and service to customers, something that's super useful for the world. So we're really excited about that. We just need to really make sure that we're focusing on funding and revenues and the fundamentals of the business so that we can feel the joy of building the work. That's the good stuff. In terms of our company structure, for those of you that are new to the company or want more guidance, we have the consumer division. So that's more razor blade based transactional models from the wallet, the search engine, the marketplace, etc. We just launched V1 of our platform, our verified platform, in January. So still very new to the market, but moving forward at a great pace that we're very proud of, especially given the capital restraints that we have. So consumer side, with the commercial division, as I mentioned, we picked up some big wins here in Q1 and Q2, meaning we had the six-figure sale in Latin America for software services, blockchain and AI-based stuff that we work on the commercial side, meaning on the blockchain side, we have Santa Cruz. We've continued to go through a multi-step approval process with the County of Santa Cruz. I believe we were the first government-approved blockchain-based wallet for a county in the United States. In terms of total addressable market, there's about 3,000 counties in the US and 100,000 cities. So if we get the Santa Cruz model, the Powered by Humble white label Santa Cruz wallet right, where you're moving a bunch of county services, starting with a few, but hopefully many more. If we get that right, we can move that at a really great pace to other counties and other cities, because the stuff we build is modular. So we try to focus on building things where if you build it once, you can build it many other times for many other clients. So currently the Humble wallet is available in 130 countries. So when you start to think about the amount of cities, counties, states, national governments that we believe will need digital wallets, we're extremely proud that we were the first approved county wallet, we believe, in the United States, that's gonna migrate onto a blockchain registry and have multiple functions in the digital wallet, to make it easier for people to find things on their wallet, find things on the search engine, do the transaction and the piece of business pretty quickly. So it's a really cool opportunity, I think, for government and citizens to grow together on effective and inclusive government through technology. So super cool, and we're so excited and proud to be working on that here in the United States and hopefully abroad. And then speaking of, we have the global distributors piece. So we have an excellent subsidiary here in Latin America, Humble LATAM in Santiago. I'll be down with a group in Oceania and Samoa as well for our first ever stadium concert and event. So we're really going to be doing some cool things with our global distributors. We had the contract sale here in Latin America, and then we have our first stadium-based ticketing event in Samoa in the next couple of weeks. In terms of things how we view the breakdown, consumer is acquiring customers, longer haul, transactional revenues, kind of basis point driven stuff, right? So that's a bigger lift. Referrals, very important. Marketing, very important. So you see us doing things, inside UFC athletes, NASCAR athletes, Women's National Football League athletes. So just really cool stuff that we're doing to be able to move forward with, with different partners on the consumer side that can inform consumer acquisition, but also pull through on the product lines. We have the commercial side, which is, prospecting, contract sales. So we had the contract sale last quarter, which was a great win. And then getting out there and improving on that, in particular with public sector clients like government. So we've won this opportunity with the County of Santa Cruz to start moving some things over, whether it's a pet registry or a bike registry or RV type of things, where typically the customer is going into, a dedicated username, password, credit card type of silo or physical office. Now you're helping them find verified information, transact on it, and then keeping it on a blockchain registry, a blocks registry, for folks to be able to consult that information, and the government and the citizen side to be able to look at it and say, yeah, that transaction was consummated, et cetera. So there's tremendous implication for these things, ranging from payments to renewals to licensure to vital records to land and title, fish and game, all the things, both in the United States and certainly abroad as well. So I look forward to picking up where we left off on some of my government conversations in Oceania as well, where I'll be picking up with some government leaders that I've had the opportunity to make friends with and talk about how technology can improve things like payment, land, title, blockchain registries, et cetera. So looking forward to picking up where we left off there in Oceania in the coming weeks as well. And then building on that on the global side, we see that there's sort of less competition in the foreign markets. Typically, if you can meet up with a good operator that has the population's best interest at heart, there tends to be more control points that have been established. If you go into some of these smaller markets, you see that remittance houses or banks really sit tightly on top of these regions. And so we think we can go in there, work together with partners, but also have a greater mix of product lines and perhaps cost savings and convenience for customers as they interact with each other and with government. So excited to build on that, and very, very thankful for the relationships we've built out in Latin America, Oceania, Asia Pacific, Africa, et cetera. In terms of revenue sources, don't want to belabor the slide deck too much, so we'll go through it a bit, but kind of an eye chart. But we have a lot of different ways that as our platform matures and we acquire more customers, we can start to drive revenue. So as you start to install wallets in different cities or counties, there's the potential for lifetime transactional revenues on that in the Powered by Humble mix. So we envision a state where, and this is not, certainly not in the pilot in Santa Cruz, but as we move to other cities and counties, God willing, then we will be able to charge small transactional fees that are fair to the customer based on convenience, cost of gas, cost of time, cost of equity and inclusion, to be able to give people a simple way to find a verified transaction that they need to do with our search engine and our wallet, and get them to that in a couple of clicks. And you come back next year and you do it again in a couple of clicks. So we're really high conviction on our ability to drive lifetime passive transactional revenues as we roll out into different cities, counties, states, or federal governments that we will be attempting to make sales to as soon as we roll out the Santa Cruz model. There are often hundreds of functions that municipalities serve for their citizens, and each one of those often includes a transaction and a registry entry. And so instead of on Web 2, those things living, in different silos by website, by county, by office, many of the products that we are working on, take a bike, for example, a bike that's in Santa Cruz. If you scan the Blocks registry QR code, when that bike is in Oakland or San Francisco, you can tell who owns it and whether it's the rightful owner and things like that. So and whether it's been renewed on the renewal. So there's things that we can do there on the technology side that are super beneficial for citizens. They're super beneficial for governments. They're very respectful of data and privacy. And I think they point to a model of how technology can serve us all better on the humanity side. So really cool, high conviction on that, and the scalability of those sales. We believe will really hit the ground running once we have that pilot kicked off as a first of in the United States. We'll go put that in front of a bunch of cities and counties, provided we have the bandwidth to fulfill those, which we believe we will. And then on the consumer side, there's kind of the classic revenue mixes. We are in deep negotiations with on-ramp and off-ramp partners, and so on. So there's some things that we'll announce. I don't want to get into anything that isn't decisive. So we'll give you a very decisive press release on stuff as we expand some of the payment and currency features of the wallet. So some very traditional, different ways of making money in the wallet. Some of the stuff we've been doing, is historically hard to do. It's hard sometimes to on-ramp and off-ramp into things like crypto. It's just not being made super easy by the credit card companies, the banks, etc. And sometimes we just don't charge a fee yet as a loss leader thing, because we've got to have customers in order to drive revenue. So sometimes you'll look at a quarterly report and go, well, why are they doing these transactions but not making money? You got to kind of pick your spots about, do we want to offer an incentive for people to come on and use the wallet and the search engine and the social platform and the ticketing? So sometimes we intentionally undercut the competition on percentages and fees because we are earlier in our stage as a company and we want to acquire customers, get them used to what it's like to be on a verified platform and profile, get them used to using a digital wallet, and hopefully build that into their experience. So it's a given that they expect that, and that you all as customers come back to us in ways where we can incrementally start to make money as a business. Our goal is always to break even and get profitable. But there's some marketing and loss leader stuff you got to do on the front end to get people in the door. So bear with us a bit here in these earlier stages of the platform launch from January on the revenue side. If you start trying to jam people on revenue before they've even experienced your product, they're not even going to go through the turnstile. So I get that we're, there's a lot of social grooming going on in the chat channels about revenue. Some of that's intentional because it's a click ahead of where we are in the product mix. But just bear with us on that. I promise you, we will get to an extreme focus on revenue once the house is crowded on attendance. So we're working, but for right now, strong product mix, product roadmap is very exciting. I'll show that to you. And then many ways to make money on the backside of this thing once we roll it out in a mature state, which we've been doing. So very happy about the acceleration of the wallet, 4.9 stars in the App Store. The verified social media, that's really setting a trend there for the expectation that you're not dealing with some, if a person walked up to you in a ski mask at the grocery store or a clown mask and started asking you questions about your personal life or your business, I don't even know that you talk to them, right? I mean, it's pretty weird. And that's exactly what so it's pretty weird. And I think people will ultimately want to start to have a much better mix of things on Web3, where they're saying, I want to be with a real person and interact with like a real business with real products and real people and real profiles. So we're very high conviction that a verified trust architecture will lead to better search engines, better payments, better transaction records, and better quality of life for people through technology. In terms of the historical financials, we've had a growth rate. It's nothing. It doesn't, knock your socks off. A lot of this though was done through acquisition. So I want to be clear that we are moving, since launching the platform, the HUMBL platform on January 1st, we are going through that national transition of moving from subsidiary-based revenues or acquisition-based revenues to organic revenues. And there's some elements of that are not going to be pretty because, as I mentioned earlier in the call, the consumer segment traditionally takes a while to go, right? We'll try to jump the route and do some growth hacks on commercial sales. Very proud of what we're doing with the County of Santa Cruz, and very proud of some of the deal flow we've started to get into in Latin America. I think there's going to be incredible demand for blockchain as a service, white label digital wallets, and blockchain registries. I think the amount of demand for that is going to be incredible. And we really hope that we can serve that demand based on bandwidth and sales closed. So we're going to be working on that. But please note that, these historical revenues, these were driven in a significant way by acquisitions. So we're going to be moving to organic revenues, and we'll do what we can. And we still always have an eye on sensible M&A to get installed base or revenues going faster. But really look at both our consumer segment and our commercial sales segment. So I'm very excited to get more bandwidth here with the funding so that I can go out and sell more on the commercial side. I love to do commercial sales. I think we've had a great track record for being, a first of on this thing with the wallet and some of the stuff we're doing in LATAM. So excited to get more bandwidth so we can go do more commercial sales. So I'll get into some of those categories as well. So go from there. Concomitantly, as we move from sort of these found revenue sources to organic revenue sources, we were very realistic about that. So we've really cut down on the burn rate and said, okay, look, yes, this is an extraordinarily low burn rate compared to the big tech Silicon Valley companies that lose billions of dollars a quarter trying to build new products like the ones that we're building. So it's sort of an embarrassingly low amount for tech, but we're still pulling it off, and we wanted to have that burn rate be as low as possible to get into a reptilian survival stance over the last 6 months while we went through this crypto contagion and the bank collapses, but feeling very good coming out of that. So we really, every penny is just, we're tripling down and figuring out where we can shave costs. We may lose our office starting in July and just say, we're out, going to a virtual environment, since so much of what we do is on elastic technology and distributed teams abroad and domestically. So really containing that burn rate. Planned areas of expansion. I am in late stage negotiations with a board of director candidate that I think you guys are going to love. He has incredible private sector, but also government, NGO, royal family contacts, like just incredible stuff for what we want to do as a digital wallet provider, both for the public sector, but also for commercial services powered by HUMBL and commercial sales. So really like this guy, not to mention he's a high ethics, practicing attorney, has had a unicorn exit before as a venture capitalist. Just love the setup on this guy. So started meeting with him in London as of last November or so, have stayed in touch, and it looks like we're there on sort of getting something together. So as soon as that's definitive, we'll publish that and give you guys a very clear direction on that. But I think this guy is just the deal. We've also not tapped into as effectively as we should have Peter Schulte, who's one of our directors. He's an amazing guy, also high character guy, Harvard and Yale educated, and is a strong consolidator of government contracts. So now that we have a little bit more foundation underneath us, I'll be reapproaching with him as well and trying to lean into any ways we can help move some of these government contracts onto blockchain. So I'll be dialing up Peter quite a bit as well, and hoping to find some common ground there to help him as a subcontractor. I'm also in late stage negotiations with the VP of Consumer from a very major social media company in Web2. So I'm not going to go into more detail than that. But I think, if everything shakes out here over the next couple of weeks, if she decides to come on with us, she'll join us probably around July 1. But a major audience and revenue driver from a leading social media company in Silicon Valley. Chief financial officer, we all do 10 jobs at HUMBL. It's too much. We're so stretched. I mean, you should see us trying to get all these materials together for a couple of days before a call like this. You're exhausted by the time you get to the call because you put so many materials together. So we do have our eye on and are in late stage negotiations with a CFO as well, that can take a little bit of that off Jeff's plate, and really just give us excellence in that seat. I'll take as much great people around me as we can afford. We need it. And it would just be wonderfully helpful. So looking forward to that BOD revenue and audience driver from big tech, and then a CFO that, I can throw half of this call over to him or her and have them have them take on, some of the capital markets and financial pieces. That's right in their wheelhouse. You guys deserve that. We deserve that. It's just a function of money. So we'll get there on that as well, but that'll take a weight off my back so I can just go focus on product and sales going forward. And so again, with the bandwidth side, we'll have more product and design, more tech and engineering. We want to knock this out of the park on our first county and then go after 3,000 other counties, 100,000 other cities, and that's just in our nation alone. And then client fulfillment and operations. Also, we still have our eye on M&A. We are really keen on trying to address dilution, so I want to be sensitive there. And lessons learned. We've, really figured out that there's a checklist that I have now where, you make some bets, right? Certain business categories don't move on the blockchain as fast, or certain, acquisitions don't end up moving into the space as rapidly as you thought they would from a human standpoint. But in this case, we aren't going to really make a move on M&A unless it has customers in an installed base, profitability or revenues that are strong, a core tech stack that's accretive to what we can't build ourselves, some kind of IP or licensing unlocks that would take us too much money or time to get. And then it would have to be limited on any kind of debt service. We're not going to pay their payrolls. We're not going to, lose money in acquisition. So I've learned a lot with this. I still feel categorically correct about things like Tickery, where ticketing has improved a ton coming out of COVID. I don't think it took a rocket scientist to see that. So we were right on stuff like that, but maybe it just wasn't fit. So we'll really be looking at things like that and saying, look, if we don't have to pay for you to be here, and you're really in love with integrating into our tech stack and moving into Web3 and blockchain as fast as possible, and you check these other boxes, then we will look at M&A. We always look at M&A. So we study companies that are on the NYSE or the NASDAQ that are maybe, failing their ability to stay on there. We could really use some of the fresh brand and technology and partnerships that we have at HUMBL. So we're always looking at stuff. And then lastly, guys, in terms of the product roadmap, I'm so excited to show this to you. We are in the process of building out our home screen for the Everything app. I know it's something that you guys have wanted for a long time. It's a day one deal at HUMBL. I want to pick up my mobile wallet and I want to be able to trade, track, pay, store, transact in really new ways. And so we're building on that. As I mentioned, different currency stacks and things like that. We will come out with when we're certain. Interestingly, a lot of the plugin partners that can give you faster rail acceleration, on ramp, off ramp, banking rails, they're hungry now to serve customers like HUMBL, because so many of our potential competitors have been flies on the windshield, losing their ability to raise capital, or not executing in the market, or not surviving, or not having the leadership tools to get through the last 8 months. So it's great because the plugin partners that we're talking to now, for whom we might need ancillary rails or on ramps or off ramps, things like that, they get back to us in minutes. So that's really cool. It's a nice feeling because we're going to come out of this sort of capital markets, the banking collapse and the crypto contagion, with really high quality brands that are building on blockchain as a technology, but also including other traditional methodologies, credit cards and fiat currencies and stable coins and all those things. So we're really excited to give you guys this. I know right now you sort of just drop into the wallet and it's not clear what you should be doing. So this will be great because it's going to bring in the social, it's going to bring in the payments, it's going to bring in sort of that home screen view that you've been hungry for, and that we can't wait to deliver. So it will report on any issues, but this will be out by Q3, if not sooner. So expect this by the end of Q3, but we hope much sooner, and I'll let you know if anything changes on that. But our team is already working on integrating this. So we're getting tremendous feedback on the design. Can't wait to deliver this. I think there's been a shortage of everything apps in the Western world, and we can't wait to get there. Especially verified, with verified profiles, real people, real merchants, and of course the white label capabilities for government with transactions, and then the blockchain registry, the blocks registry. Also of note, guys, is our search engine. So we have you have search engines, right, that just give you kind of these line link silos of stuff where you type in some words and they send you out to this, what's going to end up looking like the yellow pages. As we get down in the future, you're going to go, wait, like, so my search engine should have blockchain capabilities so I can find things very quickly from verified users or verified issuers and transact on it immediately. So that's what you're getting with our search engine. Again, we're in early days, so we haven't put that many data sets on it yet. So one of the things I'll have our summer interns doing and others is uploading as many verifiable data sets as possible to our search engine. So you can look things up on our search engine, verify them on blocks and say, okay, that person bought that jersey, 2 months ago, he's now reselling it for this price. Here's a video entry of Brian signing it, and it's lifetime cataloged on the blocks registry. This is where product and search engines need to go. I go back to that 42% fake ratings and reviews and merchandise issues with big tech Web2 marketplaces. This is where it's got to go, is verified items and verified transactions that you can quickly find. You're a verified person, you have your wallet, you have your payment methods, you click on it, you see that it's verified, you transact, and you're done. It goes to the blocks registry and you're done. Social, same thing. We have a verified profile, so you'll see us starting to redesign this in a way that's much more competitive with some of the most powerful Web2 social medias in the world, moving them onto a Web3 stack where you now have a wallet. You have verified marketplace, verified merchants, verified users, a much more strong trust architecture and a clean stack versus the trash and trinkets on Web2 with the bots and the spam. Marketplace, same thing, right? Verified products, verified users, verified merchants, no fake ratings, no fake reviews, so you know what you're getting. And this can apply to everything from physical items to travel rentals. Tickets, we're having our best month ever from a ticketing standpoint. We're doing our first originally ticketed event with the Motherland Festival in Samoa. So that's very exciting. So we're starting to move not just from the secondary ticketing, but up into that primary ticketing stack to drive revenues. NFTs, a lot of stuff, guys, is going to move on to NFTs. We're seeing that, NFTs got this thing where it's like, oh, it's just high price art, right click JPEG. NFTs are going to apply to so many different categories in our opinion. So stay tuned on that, because a lot of this stuff is going to move on to verified data sets where you find something, it's reflected by an NFT that goes into a certificate of authenticity in your wallet. It'll be a much richer experience, much more authenticated than Web2 marketplaces. Product detail pages, same thing. So this is an old Amazon trick where you get the product detail page and you really have a bunch of information, but now ours is based on blockchain. So it's verified on blocks registry. So look for that VBB, that verified by blocks, in the blocks registry. It means that product is being tracked for its lifetime from buyers, sellers, collectors, etc. So it applies to so many different fields, ranging from ticketing to sports merchandise. And then lastly, the HUMBL Pro subscription service. So we've got that coming online by the end of Q3 as well. So this is a revenue driver. You'll look for that MRR on the monthly recurring revenues. This will be really customized, nice brand presence. Right now, you go out to Wikipedia, or you go to the person's jersey site, or you go to his ticketing site, or you go to his NFT site, or you find his shop, or you try to verify whether a press release or a news story is even correct, or if it's just fake news. So this is where HUMBL Pro comes in, where we create a much more robust environment or search engine outcome for anybody in the world that wants to get verified and build out control of their search profile, not Google giving you or Bing giving you what they think should come up about you on Web2. So very exciting product. And I think we're in day one of people starting to contemplate that they should control their own data, their own wallet, their own vital records, and their own footprint online. And then lastly, we have the commercial application piece. I noted that we're moving into contract sales with certain software as a service things that we do. But really, it's the commercial application side is you go to all this work on the consumer side to build out something like a wallet. How can we transpose that to cities, counties, states, federal governments if they want it? So we're doing that, really honing in on just a couple of things, right? We tried out a bunch of verticals. You throw some things at the wall, see what sticks. But really, we're finding that government, sports, and ticketing is really where we're going to focus the white label applications. So we've had the wonderful opportunity to be the wallet product for San Diego State. We're now getting into everybody needing the wallet to get into stadium events like Motherland Samoa with the ticketing. So government, sports, and ticketing is really where we're going to find our joy. We're having lots of productive conversations with different university athletic departments, NIL collectives, and then certainly Motherland will give us a great opportunity to showcase what we can do for things like festivals and events. So really consolidating those verticals. Lastly, we have some case studies of stuff we've been doing. The stuff we're pulling off in marketing on the budget we have is incredible. And it's a testament to people wanting to work with HUMBL. Like, these guys get so much money thrown at them, especially before the crypto crash and the banking collapse, and they still choose to work with us. So it's such a high honor to be doing things like a wallet product for Samoa in the World Cup finals, the World Cup semifinals, the NCAA finals and Final Four with San Diego State, doing some first of stuff in Major League Baseball with Cabrian, ranging from the first Major League Baseball player metaverse store to the wallet to the NFT drop with Lauren Taylor. So some really cool things there. The Ultimate Fighting Championship stuff. We've been doing some UFC stuff. So thank you to our UFC fighters. These guys don't take a lot of money from HUMBL, and they really produce. So the things we're pulling off on marketing, partnerships, and the consumer acquisition that comes from that is an incredible testament to our team. It's an incredible testament to our athletes and our athletic departments and our teams that work with us. And so we're really proud of that. And also the wallet technology. They're not running into an alternative to work with for HUMBL. So we're excited to provide that value that they can't find anywhere else. So NASCAR, Joey did great for us at the Daytona and all that. So thank you guys. We're really excited, and more coming with pro athletes and music entertainment, things like that. Lastly, guys, the technology stack. So just rounding out the presentation, you have centralized technology like HUMBL, and then you have decentralized technology. So verifiable blockchain registries that are private, semi-private, or public, where people can find and verify whatever they're looking for, a vital record, product, and say, okay, I need to buy that, I need to sell that, I need to renew that, I need to license that. And it all gets committed to that blockchain registry. So excitingly, we're now in a place where I can kind of take this stack in just about anywhere. And it's just a really exciting thing to be able to say, okay, customer comes in, this can be a verified customer, merchant, or government. They can look for things on social, search, marketplace, and then it all gets committed to a blockchain registry here at the bottom. So it just triggers that transaction. So you have an indisputable ledger that's controlled by no one, but in the case of public databases, accessible from everyone to be able to consult the blockchain registry. So this stack can apply to both consumer, but also I use this stack now in commercial sales. When we're given a market problem, this can apply to a lot of things. So it's really cool to spend a number of years getting your business down into one slide that you can kind of take in anywhere and say, well, here's how you do it, right? And that ranges from governments to ticketing to sport, et cetera. So really cool to have a business down to one slide. And if any of these things are in the way on the presentation, we'll publish the PowerPoint clean for you guys to look at as well. And then lastly, as we come into the end of the presentation, what's really cool, and I was mentioning it earlier with the search engine, is we really want this verified by blocks to start to say, okay, we got to look at that. And if I look for that on the search engine, then I know that that product or that record or that data set has been validated onto a lifetime blockchain registry. So this will really pull forward a lot of stuff that just lives on Web2 search engines, sends you out to a link at the USPTO. You got to look through their search engine and pull up a PDF, and it's very inefficient Web2. So this will be fun to see this growth as we upload more data sets, more records, more products onto a verified Web3 that's tracked in the middle by this blocks registry, so you know exactly what you're getting and from whom. And then as you see a good example of this in real life, is what we did with some of the UFC guys and the MMA guys, where they're actually taking physical stuff from NASCAR, UFC. We've created now the partnership with the Blocks Registry to have both still images and video and on-chain data and provenance. So you have now the ability for an athlete, instead of some guy, Joe from Chicago, witnessing that he signed the glove, which is what they do on Web2 and certification houses now, witnesses or certifiers, you now move into a totally next level product for verified merchandise, physical items, etc., where folks are going, yeah, not only do I own that, here's a video of him on a blockchain registry signing the thing when you go to resell it or you collect it. Just great value there for the customer to know what they're getting in areas on Web2 that have tremendous fraud and forgery. So the scalability of this registry and the search engine and the wallet from HUMBL that sit on top of it is pretty wild. So we look forward to growing that in the market and seeing what we can do. So in summary, guys, we talked about the capital markets piece. So why we're building HUMBL, how we're addressing HUMBL in the capital markets, what we're doing about it from a corporate strategy standpoint. So more coming when we work out, if and when we work out something with the bees. I'm going to try to work something out with them near term. We do see dilution. We want to try to address it in any way we can. So that's things we're working on in the capital markets, is raise money, address the share structure, the dilution, figure out ways to try to help there to protect shareholder value. No promises, but we've got eyes on it. And we're going to do everything we can. We're shareholders too, so we've got an eye on it. On the consumer side, please use the products. If we indeed have the 165,000 shareholders, get in there, use the product. If you like it, refer it. Leave a review if you like it. And then on the commercial side, we welcome leads. We've had a bunch of government leads come in that folks are saying, hey, when you finish Santa Cruz, give us a call type of thing. Some of whom are in our shareholder base, so thank you. And then, of course, we want to ship accelerated product. When we get in money, it helps us go partner with people faster, with rail partners faster, and it helps us hire more engineers and drive more revenue. So finally got a little bit of a boot off our neck there on Monday with the funding. So although we still got to earn it, keep moving. So we'll get the funding, launch more products, get our bandwidth up on the technology side, drive more revenues, if and where at all possible, drive more revenues as quickly as possible. But we got to get the products and the audience out there, and then the revenues. And then hopefully our goal is to get out to a NASDAQ or an NYSE, continue to vet M&A opportunities, and as always, try to drive shareholder value for you guys. We can't thank you enough for pushing in on us, for believing in us. So thank you. We represent you every day with the hardest work we've ever put into anything. It's because we love it, but we're also super passionate about growing HUMBL into a household brand that's delivering great products and services. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. Give us all your feedback, good, bad, and ugly. We'll keep at it, and we'll see you again really soon as well. So thank you so much. Have a great day. We appreciate it. Thank you.